Hello there YouTube, it's Clormo with another video tutorial on integrating GarageBand for iPad into Logic Pro X, part of season 2 of the Logic Pro X tutorial series. And this probably is going to be the last type of integration video that I do, and then I'm going to move on into the only Logic Pro X type of tutorials. And what I want to talk today is about drummer tracks. As the other integration videos that I have done, this is also possible to do in Logic Pro X itself. And again, as I've said before, the reason I want to do this is if you are on the go or you want to catch up with some stuff that you have in mind, then you can use GarageBand for iPad to do that, and then, as I've shown in previous videos, put your work inside Logic Pro X and finish it there, or you can finish it in GarageBand. You would be surprised. So I already have GarageBand for iPad open. If you have never used GarageBand for iPad and you have an iPad, obviously, please download it and check my previous videos to see how you can navigate to create a new project and all the simple stuff that may not be as intuitive to do in the first place. So let's go into the tutorial now, and I already have a new project created. And the default that I'm seeing here is a smart guitar, so I'm gonna swipe to my right and I have drummer. So when you choose that, you are presented with this screen here where I already have a drummer loaded, which is, you're gonna see now if I press the icon with the guy where it says Maurice, it lets me change the drummer itself, and each one is gonna have the description of what type of music it's more suited for. Like Maurice is more like a hip-hop purist. We would think something like from what it says there in the description, you're talking about somebody like Jay Dilla, right? The icon even kind of looks like him, just with some glasses. And then if you go to the right or to the left, you're gonna see different types of drummers. So I'm just gonna choose Des for this to start with. And the first thing that you need to know is that when you choose your drummer, if you go to settings, you're gonna see that it already loads a preferred tempo with the drummer itself. Like if I change it from Des to Maurice, I go to settings again, it changed the tempo. That's because I haven't saved this project yet, so it's not locked in. That project tempo is not locked in yet. So when I choose that and I start doing some stuff and save it, then it's gonna lock it, and then you have to change it manually from what I remember. This works exactly the same way in Logic Pro, and I'm gonna show you at the end just quickly how to do it. And then when I do a separate one in just Logic Pro X, I'm going to show you in more in-depth how you can take advantage of this. And the reason why is because you can create a drummer track in GarageBand and obviously put some other instruments on it, but then you don't need to worry really about if it sounds bad or it doesn't sound good, because you can take that drummer track that you have, and in Logic, you can convert that to MIDI information. It's gonna either present that as an ultra beat instrument or as a drum. I think the right command or feature in Logic Pro X is drummer designer or something like that, which will let you tweak every single component of that drummer track. And in the case of Ultra Beat, you can also change the samples. And how that's going to help you, it's that you're going to be able to either save some sections as Apple loops, favorite syncopations or kick patterns and that type of thing. And you can that way also create more of your drum libraries, I have shown in season 1, right, in that sample tutorial series. Go back to that if you haven't watched it, how you can build your your sample and drum libraries doing that way. So this is just another component that's going to help you, and the added bonus is that you can start it in GarageBand for iPad and finish it up in Logic Pro X. So to start finalizing what I have here, so I'm gonna go back to Des, and right away you have what elements you have chosen in the middle, like your percussions, your hi-hat and cymbals, kick, snare, and claps, and that's dependent on what drum track or instrument the different drummer is going to have. It changes as obviously depending on the drummer. So the levels here that I'm, like you see me moving from 1 to whatever it lets you go, right? That's going to be like the, let's call it the speed or the amount of usage of that, of those instruments. So for example, right now I have the kick, snare, and claps at 1, hi-hat and cymbals at 5, no percussions. And then from I have the kick, snare, and claps, all of them are active. So now we go into the middle. The middle, depending on what I press, it's what's going to be active. So right now I don't have any kick, snare, or claps. And I'm going to hit play after I go through the 3 main bars here. Then staying in the middle, you have your fills, and that's just exactly what it says. So if you have fills all the way to the right, you're gonna have more fills in between your different bars, and you can actually pay attention to the result of the drummer track over here in yellow. If I change the fills, you're gonna see that your peaks and valleys change, your sound changes, and all of this is visible and very customizable to whatever you want. So now in the to the left, what you have is something similar to that smart drums, which was the first iteration of what now Drummer is, that came with GarageBand for iPad. Or it's the first time I saw it was in GarageBand for iPad. So here, this is just means that it's like a graph, and you see me moving this dot here. Very self-explanatory. If you go, as you go to the left, you either go from a more simple drum pattern, and as you're moving to the right, the pattern is going to become a little bit more complex. By the same token, if you go up and down, then lower down is a softer, and this is related to volume or velocity of the instruments, and then as you go up, they're going to be louder, and you can see that very clearly when you work it in Logic Pro X, or if you export from GarageBand to Logic Pro X, because when you convert it to MIDI information, you're going to see that your velocities are going to be affected by this parameter here, up and down. And then right down at the bottom on that left column, you have your swing. So you can introduce swing, as you can see here in your options, and that's just gonna self-explanatory as well. It's just gonna give you swing in your track. So this is very good. Some people may call it cheating, but if you really want to get down a good drum pattern and your drum sounding right, you really have to work a little bit more, and that applies to anything that you use for drums. For your tracks, even if you use a sample track, you have to equalize it. You have to make sure that it sounds right. So this just gives you a good base point, and then you can go in and change your samples or change your patterns around. I would recommend that you use this. I am using it a little bit more now frequently, and I'm trying to build my drum library a little bit more based on what this has been giving me or what I've been finding. I haven't been using it for that long, honestly, for about 3 months or so, and not like a lot because I've been dealing with other stuff, right? But it's a pretty good option. So now I'm just gonna play what we have here, these settings, and then change some around so you notice the difference. And then we're gonna go to Logic Pro X real quick and close the tutorial. So I'm gonna hit play for a few bars. So that's your pattern with the current settings. Now I'm gonna start changing some stuff from this bar onward. I changed the fill all the way up, and you notice that right away that changed. I'm gonna change my, let's see, let's add some percussions here. I'm gonna, so you notice how that changes. It's extremely simple, you know. And if I lower my hi-hats, I'm gonna make my kick, snares, and claps different. And then all of that, it's coupled with, I'm gonna make it louder and more complex, just a little bit. And you notice, you should be noticing how my peaks and valleys change with that drum pattern. And it obviously, if you change settings in between bars, you have to wait for the next bar for the change to take effect. Just if you notice something weird, I'm gonna make it now, change it all the way to simple or soft. You see how that everything just went down, so it's less velocity. So I'm gonna stop that, and don't feel constrained from what I said in the beginning, that each drummer track kind of brings its own tempo. You can change the tempo, you still can change it to whatever you want, so don't even think that you're just constrained by that. So if I get out of here, which I'm gonna do, just gonna give me that there. It's a shame that, you know, when you double, I've tried this before, you double click it and you have edit and settings, it doesn't let you, at least at this point, doesn't let you make it MIDI information in GarageBand for iPad. I'm not sure if with a iPad Pro it would let you. I know that the iPad Pro has more power, so there are a few different settings that may have more options just from what I have seen, but I just have a simple iPad. So same as always, you hit my songs and it's just gonna save it. So now let's go real quick into Logic Pro X. I created an empty project. It's gonna give me this window where I can add, or where I should select something to add some track. And there's drummer. So when you hit drummer, it's gonna ask you what genre you want. So you have these different genres here, and that it's equivalent to what you see in GarageBand. If you select hip hop and I hit create, it brought this, right? So from here I can select different guys, Anton or Maurice, and you notice how my different audio effects change. I'm gonna bring this because that's the one that we used, and you see that you have your drum machine. That's what I wanted, the drum machine designer. That's the exact name. So that's gonna give you this here where you can tweak every single element of the applicable components, right? If you have snare 2, for example, and I press it, you know, you see I can change everything there. But I'm gonna go a little bit more in depth in its own video later. And the reason is because I wanted to show you, I want to show you how to change samples and all that stuff, kind of a similar type of tutorial like the Ultra Beat or ESX24. This is exactly the same as GarageBand, and so is this, but the swing and the fills are controlled with a knob type of button, right? Not like a slide one. And all of this is just like pre-made settings, but you can do whatever you want here. And then the icing on the cake, it's really I'm gonna show you right here. You can right click, and I already have it at the very top of my menu because I have used it before. But if it's the first time and you don't have any of this, you just right click it or command click that and go down to convert. convert to immediate region, and it's just going to change the region that you select. If you only select one, it's going to do that, and if you select both or how many you want, it's going to change them to MIDI. Again, like I said before, you can take patterns for anything: kick, snares, hi-hats, save those separately as Apple loops, and then have them ready, you know, and use your favorite samples or your favorite kick sounds and go crazy with it. So I'm not gonna go much more into the Logic Pro X version because, you know, it just make the video longer unnecessarily. So with that, I'm gonna close the tutorial for now. This video, it's also part of the giveaway, so if you are a subscriber and comment on this video as well, then at the end of the month from the previous video that I made that opened the giveaway, this giveaway round, then you're also eligible to win that. So far there's only one person that has been a new subscriber and commented on the video before this one, so you know, hopefully more of you get a chance to participate, otherwise that guy's gonna win it, and I don't remember the name. I'm just gonna mention it just so I don't, you know, give him bad luck and him then gets mad at me or something. So anyway, I'm gonna be closing the tutorial for now, and in the next tutorial I'm gonna start right away with ESM, so stay tuned for that. See you in the next video then. Peace out, YouTube.